Hi, my name is Dale. I play accordion. How do you like my t-shirt? I'm being pretty silly this morning. It's morning here in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's only going to be 108 degrees today in June. Alrighty, so this is what I'm going to be calling lesson 3, should I say 3 theory. It's going to be the theory of a lot of things in accordion. And so I'll be right back as soon as I put on my rolling accordion, and I want to show you some things about bass notes and treble notes and reading notes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I want to talk about are these notes here in the left-hand side of the accordion bass side. When you're playing this, let's get real close here. There we go. This is the original Easy Play series. You know, in the 1970s, organ companies like Kimball and Wurlitzer and Lowry came out with these organs where the left hand, you would push down one finger and it would automatically give you a boom chuck, and you didn't have to learn how to play the left hand. Well, way back in the mid-1800s, guys in Europe had come out with this system of you push one finger, you get a bass note, you push the button right next to it, you get a chord sound. So I want to show you what they're actually playing. On my right hand keyboard here, I've set up a similar sound. So if I go C, and then reach up here for a C chord, which has 3 notes in it, and go, and I have to be pretty precise so that I don't hit the wrong keys. And that same sound is right here. So it really simplifies the whole process. And here is the G chord, so I have to get way down to a G, and then reach up for a G chord. And on the accordion, so if I put them together, it's then the G chord. So when I get people coming up to me at the restaurant where I play, and they say, "Oh, this looks so complicated." And I ask them if they play the piano, and often they say, "Oh yeah, but the piano is much easier." I say, "No, you really don't know what's going on here." And then I point out this system, and they go, "You know, that took you 5 years to learn how to do that with the left hand in stride piano." So okay, next part that we're going to do is bring up music notation and see what this all looks like on the printed music sheet. Okay, so in this segment, what I want to point out is that here we've got the name of the bass chord written on the sheet music, and here's the name of the next chord, G chord, and here's the name of the next chord, C chord, G chord. So you'll often see music written in this fashion where the names of the chords are written on top, and then you'll have the melody notes in this section, and then you'll have, in accordion music, you'll have the notes written out in this fashion where it's just a single note with the stems going up telling you it's a bass note and stem going down telling you it's a chord note. But it's really symbology, because it's not what you're actually playing. The thing about accordions is they have many octaves that can play simultaneously, whereas on a piano, if you were to play this, you would get just that one note, and you would just play the single note there for the left hand note, where on the accordion, when you play that button, you're actually getting a combination of 3 notes, and it could be in several octaves. So this is what it looks like in piano music with the 3 notes written out. So you've got a middle C, an E, and a G. That's all part of the C chord. And here for going over here for the G chord, noted up on top here, G chord, G down in the bass clef here. And again, bass clef is this thing that looks like the backwards C, sometimes called the F clef. And so here we've got the bass note and the bass chord. So I'm just going to turn on my chord, or rather autoplay system here, and you can listen to what this sounds like if it were a piano part. Oh, let's get started from the beginning. Hold on one second here. Go back. All right, now let's do it. So you hear just individual notes. And now it's going to kick in the chord. But on the accordion, this is what we're playing. You get that full chord. Bass, chord, bass, chord, bass, chord, bass, chord. Okay, in this next segment, this is a review of learning to read the names of notes on the music staff. So, I've covered all this in lesson 1, but I know when I was a kid learning all of this stuff, I needed constant repetition to learn all these things. And I really do want you to learn how to read the names of the notes in music because we're going to be using it over and over and over. So just to point some things out, first of all, I'm using a different font here than what I had used before, just for some variety. So this thing here is called the treble clef, and in accordion this is the clef that indicates the notes that we're going to play with our right hand. It's also called the G clef. A couple of hundred years ago, this thing actually looked more similar to the capital letter G, and if you look really closely at this second line here, here you see that it's labeled G. And if you look at the drawing of it, you see that it crosses 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that has some significance. In the bass clef, this several hundred years ago actually looked more like an F. And these two dots here are surrounding the F line. And as I mentioned in the previous theory class, this is the grand staff, and this note here, which is the first ledger line below the 5 lines and spaces, and if I were to draw a note right here, the first ledger line above the bass clef, they are on the piano, they are actually the same note, and that's where the term middle C comes from. So to make sense of our alphabet, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then I repeated A here. But when I play this, it sounds odd because it's not the sound that we are used to with Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. Or I guess if I were singing the note names, I could go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And the reason why we've got this little complication here in the beginning is because if we were to truly play a scale starting on the letter A, I'd have to show you how to play black notes and white notes all mixed up right in the beginning. So the C scale, which is down here, starts on the letter C and is going to have that same tone, that Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, that we are so used to. But it is weird that you start on C, D, E, F, G, and then you got to start the alphabet with A, B, C. But again, let's do this. Let's put on the player so that you can hear what this actually sounds like. So here we go. Hang on one second. Just have to turn the volume up so you could hear it. All right, here we go. And here's the major scale. Okay, so getting just a tad technical here. This is actually called an A minor scale, and so it's got this little bit of an odd sound that we're not used to hearing, and this is called a major scale. And we'll get into more of this stuff as we go on. On the bass buttons in your left hand, you have the bass button that you're pushing, and then the chord button is actually, its correct name is C major chord. And if you can move your one finger back, or one roll back, it's actually the C minor chord. And we're going to be getting into major and minor chords down the road. But let's listen to this one more time. So go back to the beginning here, and here we go. And here's C major. So that's the scale that we all know, and let's just make that go faster. Hang on 1 second here. All right, and so here we go again from the beginning. Here's the minor scale. And here's the major scale. Okay, so the point of all of this is that I would really love it if you would just spend some time looking at these symbols. We translate it into reading music. And so if you learn that the first ledger line below the staff, and again look at, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines and 4 spaces dividing them, and each one has a note that rests on it, and each one we give it a name. So that first ledger line below the G clef or the treble clef, we call it C. And on your keyboard, you know it is to the left of the 2 black keys. And then moving up higher in pitch, D is right below the staff. E is the first note on the bottom. F is the next note in the space. G is the second line. A, B, and C. All right, so that's what I want to cover in this segment of Theory Lesson B. So did you hear my phone ringing in my pocket? That's my wife's dial tone, and she was calling to tell me to make sure and record tonight's baseball game on TV. So I think I'm going to end this segment with a recording of mine playing a roll on accordion and playing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Thank you for watching.